Welcome back to Save the Nation. Britain is a nation addicted to benefits. We have developed a welfare system that rewards worklessness and punishes hard work, and the government is set to make the problem worse. The latest in a series of leaks ahead of next week's budget has revealed that welfare spending is set to rise by 3.8%, increasing the benefits bill by £6 billion. This comes days after the Daily Telegraph revealed that of the 8 million people living on benefits, 4 million are under no obligation to look for work.
This important interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your money and your identity. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code here to get ExpressVPN right now and save up to 73% on annual plans today. Right, let's get back into it.
DWP data show there are 2.2 million universal credit claimants on long-term sick leave, the majority for mental health reasons. This is a seven-fold increase since the pandemic, which exacerbated the something-for-nothing culture dominating Britain today. Between April and June of this year, nearly 3.4 million people born outside the UK claimed benefits. This includes universal credit, housing benefits, disability allowance, child benefit, pension subsidies and carer allowances. This culture of worklessness is simply not sustainable. OBR figures say Britain's welfare benefit, excluding pensions, in 2024-5 was £137.4 billion. Next year, this is expected to rise to £141.2 billion. What is the effect on working people? Despite news today showing a small decrease in inflation, living costs are still rising. Essential costs, food, energy, utility bills, clothing are rising faster than wages can keep up. Even the left-leaning Resolution Foundation talks of a comfort crunch, particularly lower-income working families who are forced to spend a much higher proportion of their income on essential living costs than ever before, squeezing standards of living for people who work. Citizen Advice data show a significant proportion of people in part-time work are living on a negative budget. Yesterday, Kemi Badenoch moved the Conservative vision back to its traditional goal of sound finances.
Nigel Farage and Zia Yusuf are holding a press conference on how they would save money. But in reality, they want to increase benefits by scrapping the two-child benefit cap. They just don't get it. None of these parties do.
Absolutely.
The Conservative Party are the only party in this country committed to living within our means.
Meanwhile, Reform's head of policy, Zia Yusuf, announced reform spending plans, which included stripping EU citizens of rights to benefits, which it says will save the taxpayer £20 billion a year.
We've already announced that our belief is UK welfare should be for UK citizens. I think that's an entirely reasonable position. So we are saying we will no longer, the British state should no longer pay universal credit payments to foreign nationals.
Both Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage are taking the right approach to the nation's finances. Those who pay for the benefits will have their income tax threshold frozen again and will face inflation-linked duty increases on alcohol and probably fuel. They're being made worse off while the skivers who live off them are being protected. The left never had a monopoly on fairness, but now it is actively promoting unfairness against those who work in favour of those who idle. As always, let me know what you think. mailmog@gbnews.com.
Every time you're online, your money and your identity are at risk. Scams now make up nearly 40% of all crime in the UK. That's thousands of attacks every single day. In Britain, someone has their identity stolen every 2 minutes, leaving victims with wrecked finances and years of stress. The threat is real, and you could be next. ExpressVPN is your shield against criminals. It locks down your devices, hiding your personal information and financial details from hackers, scammers, and anyone else looking to exploit you. So whether you're checking your bank, shopping, or just browsing, ExpressVPN makes you invisible to prying eyes trying to steal your money and your identity. ExpressVPN shields your data with military-grade AES 256 encryption. That's the same standard trusted by the US government to guard classified information. This is the highest level of online security you can get. So don't wait for disaster. Secure up to 14 devices at once and get powerful password protection. Real support is available 24/7 because cybercrime never sleeps. Save up to 73% on annual plans today. Every moment you hesitate is another moment you're exposed. Protect your money and protect your identity. Get ExpressVPN right now.
Well, I'm joined now by my preternaturally perspicacious panel, the former spokesman for Reform, Gawain Tola, and the political consultant and former Labour candidate, Kevin Craig. Kevin, let me come to you first, because I really think it is desperately unfair to uprate benefits in line with inflation when the income tax thresholds are not being uprated in line with inflation.
I don't get the sense that you have a lot of compassion for people on benefits sometimes.
I do for people who really need them, but I certainly don't for the people who have no obligation to look for work, aren't looking for work, and have made a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, but I think how you characterise it sometimes, you paint a life on benefits as something that one would find desirable.
People do.
How do you know that?
Well, we know it from the figures that people are taking this as a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. I think the figures are that when your party was in government, albeit accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, millions more people are signing on to benefits.
Actually, we got the figures down until COVID. So
well, yeah,
the people who were not economically active of working age went down by over 1 million up until 2019. Since 2019, it's gone right back up again with this culture of thinking the state will pay everything for you.
No, well, your party overall led governments that inflicted a lot of pain on people at the lowest economic end of society. And the difference between a Labour government and a Conservative government... I can't get a word in here, Jacob, due respect as the host, without you chipping in on me. The difference between a Labour government and a Conservative government, and even a Labour government and a Reform government, will be we are tough on cracking down on worklessness. We've had a lot of stick recently for even trying measures like putting advisors in GP surgeries, and people have been throwing a load of criticism at the government for putting advisors in GP surgeries. Well, your own commentators. No, people out there. But the fact is, your characterisation of benefits going up by 3.8% and the fact that the tax bands don't change. Benefits are a safety gap to stop people in real poverty. The tax bans are a different measure for raising the money that we need to fund public services. I don't want to pay more tax than I have to Jake.
Kevin, hold on a moment. I've now given you a long go. Number of things. Yeah. First of all, the universal credit was a very good way of giving people an incentive to work in Duncan Smith's reform. And secondly, the judgment of poverty that the UK government uses is relative poverty, not absolute poverty. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when you're not increasing tax thresholds, but you are increasing benefits, that is not having... That's not stopping relative poverty changing if you didn't increase them. Relative poverty would logically remain the same.
Yes, but those on the lowest incomes have to be able to keep up with food cost rises and fuel inflation, whereas they can't get pay rises like people in the workforce, and wages have been going up. And under the Labour government, we've had more wage rises in real terms than we have in the
public sector. But in the private sector, it's hardly above inflation, which means that with the thresholds remaining frozen, you are in real terms worse off.
Across all sectors, the wage applies to both private and public sectors.
Kevin, I think what is interesting, on being asked a question about this, your first response is, you're bad guys, we're good guys. We care, you don't. That's literally how you started.
My characterisation is...
You said you're being mean.
Go on. It's just that the whole tone, the intro of this chat, it's not about being mean. It's just I don't detect much... It's a fair point. I don't detect much empathy for who benefits are there to support. None of us support people on benefits who don't want to work. And the Labour government is getting flack for tackling it.
Well, no, I don't think it is. It's not getting flack for tackling it. It's not tackling it.
Well, only from the hard left, from its own supporters.
The flack it's getting is for people on your own side. So that I find quite interesting. However, I was once, many years ago, when I was trying to get into the working ladder, I was homeless for a while, I was starting to work. Initially...
So two of us have been on benefits, and Jacob, a third?
Hold on.
No, I haven't.
Sorry, OK,
I've not been on benefits.
I got into work, and I was on benefits, and I worked a 40-hour week, and I was earning about 10 quid on top of what I would have got as benefits. So to work 40 hours earning a tenner, about 100 quid now. That's how much I was earning for a 40-hour week that I wasn't getting from benefits, because you lose benefits as soon as you start working. You start to lose, and that's the taper and all the rest of it. So when you say nobody chooses to be on benefits as is to work, if you're on the minimum wage, if you're at the lower level, actually, it makes sense to be on benefits rather than work, because you're getting up, you're working, the cost of travel, the cost of transport, all these costs are added on. And so you do all that. You work your socks off just to get over that limit, so you're no longer on the state. and people are earning almost as much as you for doing damn all. How do you feel? And then you discover that their pay goes up, but your pay goes down because your tax rate, in essentially, after inflation, your tax rate goes up.
But
how's that fair?
Well,
you talk about being fair. How about fair to the people who work hard?
What we all agree isn't fair is that the people who are on benefits who could be into work. And that's why there's a major plank of government activity designed at tackling, as Jacob said, the 1 in 8 16 to 24-year-olds that we inherited from the Conservatives who are not in work or any training. We all agree that's an issue. What I was just challenging by asking about the lack of empathy, not just tonight, but in the monologue yesterday, is that there are many people who do deserve and need benefits, and that goes up with inflation so that they're not instantly pushed into poverty.
But they wouldn't be pushed into relative poverty because the relativity doesn't take place when other people's wages aren't going up with line inflation or they're losing it because more's being taken in tax.
Yes,
so it doesn't. The relative. If we were dealing with absolute poverty, your point would be right. But nobody in this country is in absolute poverty. It's only relative poverty.
But there are people using food banks, Jacob, and things like that, who haven't got enough money to buy their own groceries. That is a real.
The welfare system provides enough money for people to buy groceries.
Do you think then? Do you think that no food banks?
I've no objection to food banks.
If people want to volunteer food into food banks,
that's a great thing. It helps people supplement the benefits that they receive.
More, and it's not just food. It's
but our benefit system,
material. It's soap. It's stuff like this. Because guess what? Again, well, I've been unemployed. There have been times when I've had to use food banks. I understand. I've been there. It's not fun. But you know what I did? I didn't want to be there. I made the effort to get off and get up.
But that's the point I made earlier, that work it's noble to be in work. You can provide for yourself and your family. Most people want to be in work.
But it's no good if you can't afford to be in work because you're paying higher taxes because your thresholds are frozen. To Gawaine's point, it makes it harder.
That moral benefit of being at work is great, but it don't feed you. But it doesn't butter any parsnips.
It butters no parsnips. Thank you very much to my panel. In a moment.